Hey, everybody. Do you really need a degree to get into cybersecurity? The answer is no. The easiest and best way to get into cybersecurity is to develop the skill sets required in today's cybersecurity professional workplace. How do you develop the skill sets? By doing three things. Number one, practice. Number two, practice. Number three, practice. You don't have a lab? You need to build one immediately. And I'm going to be helping you through that process. In this multi-part series of building a simple cybersecurity home lab, I'm going to walk you through establishing the lab of your choice. All right. So we are going to continue, but before we do, I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. So we're going to be looking at building a simple cybersecurity home lab part one. All right, like I said before, it's going to be a multi-part series. My name is Akotarh Akosson. I am a senior cybersecurity analyst and a subject matter expert in the cybersecurity field of vulnerability management. I hold a degree in cybersecurity from Bellevue University, Nebraska, in the United States. I am certified in governance, risk, and compliance, and I am also a CompTIA CISA Plus certified individual. All right, just a short, brief introduction about building my home lab part one. Your lab depends on the specific cybersecurity field you're interested in. I am going to be doing a video on the different types of cybersecurity careers. There are like 18 to 20 or 25 of them. Okay, so depending on what specific field of cybersecurity you're picking interest in, that will be the kind of lab that you are going to build. And we are going to try as much as possible in our multi-part series to cover all of these labs. But first, if you want more of these videos, if you can like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that each time we release a video, you're going to be the first to know. Okay, so home lab part one. So again, this is first in multi-part series that we're going to be having, right? And then in this specific video also, we are going to cover what we call virtualization, which is the cheapest way to go. Instead of you spending a lot of money going to buy different hardware, coming to your home and connecting those together, there is another very easy way that you can do that, which is the concept of virtualization that we're going to be seeing. So the next question we'll be seeing is what is virtualization, right? And then we're going to be looking specifically at what we call Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager. So those are the things that we're going to be covering in this specific video for today. Okay, so what is virtualization? When we talk of virtualization, we are simply referring to the process of building virtual machines called VMs. And specifically for the sake of this video, we are going to concentrate on type 2 virtualization. There are two main types of virtualization. You have type 1 and type 2. With type 2 virtualization, we use a specific type of what we call hypervisor. All right. what we call a hypervisor. So take, for example, what you're seeing on the screen is your host machine, your computer, maybe the computer you're using to watch this video, or the computer that you're going to be using to build your lab. That is the host computer. Now, this is the little technique that we use in virtualization. Once you have that host computer, you can build other smaller computers. You can only see them, but you cannot touch them like hardware, right? They are software. So you can build other computers on top of this your computer that you're going to be using for this class, that you're going to be using to build your machines. So again, the first thing you need is your host computer, right? The computer that you're going to be using to watch, that you're currently using to watch this video, or the computer that you're going to be using to build your lab. All right. So once you have your host computer, how does it work? You are going to place an instance on that specific computer. We call that instance a hypervisor. A hypervisor. And there are two main types of hypervisor, like I said earlier, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is called bare metal hypervisor. We don't need that in this specific series of building our lab. We are going to be concentrating on type 2 hypervisors, all right? A good example of a type 2 hypervisor is what we call Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager, right? Another one is called VMware. For the sake of this specific tutorial, for the sake of this video, for the sake of this series, we are going to be doing Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager. That's what we're going to be using. All right. So on top of that hypervisor, you are going to build different virtual machines, right? So let's backtrack a little bit again. So I said you need a host computer, right? On top of that host computer, you're going to put an instance called a hypervisor. You're going to install a hypervisor on that host computer. And on top of that hypervisor, you're now going to build all those virtual machines, 1, virtual machine 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on the resources that you have, the resources that your host computer has, right? Now, how do we get, now you have your host computer. The next question is, how do I get my Oracle VM VirtualBox hypervisor, right? So the link we're going to be using, and I will have this link in the description of this video, is virtualbox.org/wiki/downloads. Okay, and this is how, if you look at my screen, this is how a typical Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager hypervisor looks like. If you look at the left part of the screen, this is where once you build your machines, they're going to sit here. They're going to be placed here. The left part, under where we say tools, you have virtual machine 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Okay. All right. So just a recap, what are we saying? In order to build our lab and to do it in a very cost-effective way, we're going to use a technology called virtualization, right? And with the type of virtualization we're going to be using is called type 2. And type 2, you need your host computer, which is the computer that you're going to be using to build your lab. And then on top of that host computer, you're going to install something called a hypervisor. And an example of an hypervisor that we are going to be using is called Oracle VM VirtualBox. manager. And on top of that, we are going to be building those virtual machines. But then, remember I said you use your host computer, right? So if you're using your host computer will be sharing its resources. So it's not magic. So you cannot just use your host computer and create 20 different machines. No, your host computer needs to have specific specifications. All right. And what I recommend is um, have a computer that has a CPU, a processing power of um, i7 is good, right, for Intel, but if you can do i5 is also cool, right? Then for the RAM size, have if you cannot afford 16 gigabytes, then have 8 gigabytes, right? And then storage should be pretty good, like 500 gigabytes. It could be SSD or HHD, right? All right. And then your operating system could be Windows 10 or 11. All right. You could also have an operating system. You could Mac for those of you who like Apple products, Mac. All right. But for the sake of this class, we're going to be using Windows 11 operating system. All right. So now, how do you know if your computer meets those specifications? How do I know if my computer meets those specifications? So we are going to be doing that right now. So you locate what we call this PC on your computer, and then right click and select properties. All right. So let's try to do that right now. All right, let me use this other computer. So on your left, you can see here this PC. You right click on this PC and then properties. All right, you can be able to see the specifications that are required, that are on this specific device. All right, so like I said before, let's get our Oracle VM VirtualBox Hypervisor. So let's get that right now. I'm just going to go, remember that URL, remember the URL that we just showed? So that URL is virtualbox.org/wiki/downloads. And then you type enter. All right. All right. So press enter. You're going to have, so depending on your operating system. So like I said, we're going to be using Windows operating system for this demonstration. And you just have to click on that. You can see it up here, it's downloading, right? So you pick that. And when you're doing this, you're going to have a security control by Microsoft, right? So remember, Microsoft builds Windows operating systems. So right now I'm seeing on my screen a user account control. It's a security control that is asking me, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Just take yes. All right, once you click on yes, it's going to start the installation process. So this is an installation wizard that comes up. So you go next. Make sure you accept the EUL, the EULA, end user license agreement. If you don't accept it, then you're not going to be allowed to use the product. Install, so that is currently being installed. It's a very light application, very light client that we're going to be having on our desktop. All right, so I don't want lots of, okay, so we're done. So finish. When you click on finish, hey, look down here on our tray. This is our hypervisor. We got it, right? So remember that it is this hypervisor, on top of this hypervisor, that we are going to be building our machine. So once we start building, the first virtual machine will appear here, the next one down, just like that. So I hope that this was a very simple process. In our next video, we are going to learn, or we're going to see how we can install or build a machine like Kali Linux or Metasploitable, many other machines, even other Windows machines. We're going to build other Windows machines. All right. So take the rendezvous again for the next video. Again, if you want to make sure that you see all of these videos and on time, make it a duty to like, share, comment, follow, or subscribe if you like. And then you turn on the notification bell. Once you do that, you're going to be getting these videos from us very often. All right? Take the rendezvous for next time. Bye for now.